Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe that it's the end of the year once again, and you're probably gonna hear me say that every year because time just flows by so quickly. 2021 was definitely full of a lot of lessons for me. So without further ado, let's just get into today's video. 21 things I learned in 2021. Number 1, I learned that there's more worth in hoping for the best than there is in worrying in the worst. A lot of the times we worry about the worst and we spend that time being anxious when the thing ends up not turning out horribly anyways, and so we've wasted that time worrying when we could have been just enjoying the moment or at least not being stressed. Either way, the outcome still happens. It's just about how you spend that time between. Number 2, I learned that your taste buds really do change as you get older. Okay, so just like any other kid, I used to love artificial candies growing up, like blue raspberry flavored things, Jolly Ranchers, and now those things taste like straight up chemicals to me. And I used to hate things like banana pudding, sweet potatoes, cooked fruits, so like any pie, I did not like them. But for some reason, ever since I got to college, those have become my favorite thing. And I know I'm not alone in this. A lot of my hallmates have definitely said the same or similar thing. Maybe it's also because when you come into college, you come in with more of an open mind, ready to try new things. I don't know, but I also like tea now. So in the future, if you're watching this and you're like, obsessed with tea, you know that 2021 is the year where that started. Number 3, don't assume any relationships last forever. Whether it's a friendship, relationship, whatever, don't assume that anything lasts forever. Number 4, you won't get anywhere by being comfortable. Growth and good changes only happen if you're willing to take that first step or first leap, and it's uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Number 5, getting your ears pierced is not as painful or bad as I thought it would be. There's a reason why I waited for 20 years, and it's because I was a chicken. Well, first of all, I didn't really see a need to it. Second of all, I was very scared of a needle going through my ear, and I thought it would be super painful, and I was scared that my ear would get infected and all these bad things, and they did not happen to me. So, therefore, if you want to get your ears pierced and you're scared of the pain, go for it. Number 6, I learned a lot about how beautiful nature can be and how the US is actually a lot cooler than I thought it was. You always hear about cities like LA and New York City, but this summer I actually got to visit Yellowstone, and it's just this huge, like 200 square mile plot of land that's completely untouched. And the animals, the nature, the trees, like the views are just unreal. So this year I actually ended up loving nature a lot more. Long walks, amazing. It's just become my coping mechanism for whenever I'm sad or want to get my mind off of things. Number 7, after living somewhere new for the first time in my life, I realized I actually do love Baltimore a lot more than I thought I would, but Atlanta is still my home. I never wanted to stay in state my whole life, but after traveling to a lot of places and living in a new state or city for the first time, I can honestly say that I might see myself living in Atlanta in the future. Nowhere compares. Number 8, decor and aesthetics. I've always been a very practical person, so if things don't have practical use, I kind of thought they were useless. Like people who got their nails done or their hair done who would feel so good about it. Or like my sister, she's super into decor aesthetics. She always has like a little mini Christmas tree during the holidays in her room, or she was really into seasonal decor. I just never understood it, and I thought it was a waste of money and time. And maybe it's because I have my own place for the first time in my dorm, but for the first time, I can understand why these things can be so important to people. Having nice decor, a nice living space, setting up a diffuser, or having fairy lights in the room, having pictures of people you love or things you love. These small things that can make you happy can actually increase your productivity and increase your overall quality of life. Number 9 is kind of similar. I've learned a lot about the quality of life and the quality of things that I purchase as a result. Now that I'm somewhat living on my own, I have to make a lot more decisions on what I'm gonna buy for myself. I used to be pretty cheap, and I still am, I'm not gonna lie, but I learned that some things are worth spending money on. Good quality over quantity matters much more than I gave it credit for previously. Sometimes spending more now can really save in the long run. Okay, now this next one might be kind of hard to understand, but try to just bear with me. So as a kid, I always thought that adults knew everything, and I thought that adults had their lives together. Well, first of all, now that I am an adult, I don't have my life together. Child me always thought that by the time you turn 18, you should have everything figured out for the rest of your life. But now I'm 20 and I still don't exactly have a clue. I've learned that no matter where you are, whether you're an 80-year-old or a 40-year-old or a 25-year-old, a NASA engineer or a high school physics teacher, we're all just trying to figure out what's going on in this world. No one is truly better than the other, and it's quite a humbling thing to know and realize. This can get philosophical really quickly, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Number 11, the word professional and what it means. I used to think that the word professional was a huge deal. Like, I used to think that was as high as you could go. I used to think that, you know how on career day when you're a kid and like someone would bring a parent in and speak about, I'm a professional firefighter or something, just to like inspire the kids. Well, I thought that when you bring in a professional, whatever you're professional in, you have multiple degrees and that no one is more qualified than this person to speak on something. Well, the older I get, the more I realize that the word professional literally just means that you do it for money. So if you're a professional violinist, that could range from something as a high school performer who plays in wedding gigs, or Heifetz or Perlman who are world-class ranked like #1 violinists. Those are all technically the same professional violinist as a term. I'm not commenting on the skill level of any of these people, I'm just trying to say that I learned that this word can have a broad meaning sometimes. Okay, number 12. It really took a whole gap year for me to understand this and learn this, but grades in the grand scheme of things really don't matter. I used to be that kid that was obsessed between a 99 and 100, who was infinitely more concerned with getting a high GPA than actually learning and understanding the material. Maybe it's the fact that I'm in college now, and whatever comes next isn't necessarily dependent on the numbers. It's more dependent on the skills, the connections that I learn here, not just as a student, but as a character. But anyways, now I'm so much more concerned with actually learning and understanding the material than I am with the grades and the numbers. Okay, number 13. Mental and physical health are so correlated. That's why having a clean space to focus in, or if taking a walk will help you focus better. When you come back after cleaning your room or after taking a walk, your productivity increases 100-fold. Your mood is better and you're just ready to take on more and do better, the quality overall. I learned that for me, physical exercise is so important. If I go more than 2 or 3 days without exercise, I honestly feel so sad, and it just makes it hard for me to concentrate on anything else. Sleep, eating well, exercise, these self-care things matter so much than we give them credit for on a day-to-day basis. I often see college students or students in general, or actually people in general, sacrificing their sleep, saying that they don't have time to exercise well or eat well in the name of being too busy or having too much work. But honestly, if you are feeling unproductive, your physical and mental health coming first makes everything else fall into place. Number 14, I learned a lot about time management. I used to be the queen of procrastination, and it's because every time I procrastinated, I would still end up getting it done. But when you go to college and your schedule's a lot different than it is in high school, basically the whole day's hours is now at your disposal. You really have to learn how to time manage. Number 15, without getting into too much personal detail, I learned that sometimes when it comes to relationships, just love isn't enough. Love doesn't equal compatibility, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Number 16. We're often very giving when we have an abundance of things. When we're really happy or full of love, we tend to be more giving and generous. Consequently, if we don't have a lot of love or we haven't received a lot of love, that might end up pouring into some of our actions. Just a general observation, take with that what you will. Number 17. Never think that it couldn't happen to you. Whether it's developing a mental health disorder or losing someone important to you, you never know. Never think that it couldn't happen to you. Number 18. Self-dates are so fun. Art museums are so cool. Long walks by yourself, in the city, in the suburbs, wherever, so underrated. I went on so many dates with myself this year and I absolutely loved them. I don't know why I haven't been doing them before, probably because I didn't really know anything about self-care or just doing things to take care of yourself so that you can get the things that you want to done. Number 19, I learned that it doesn't hurt to ask. Several examples of this. There's a really cool mansion near Peabody where I live. One day I noticed that they didn't say you couldn't go in. So I asked the person at the desk if I was allowed to be there, and she said, yeah, as long as you don't go upstairs. And so I went inside this really cool old mansion with 40 bedrooms, and it turns out it's a venue place. There's weddings, maybe events hosted there, but it was so beautiful. And I would have never gotten to see it if I didn't just ask, and it's literally right next door to me. And there's also this art gallery in New York City that my cousin and I were walking around. We just asked the person if it was free or did it cost money. Worst case, they would have said no or it cost money, but she said it was free. So we went in there and we got to see some really cool art. Number 20, I learned that I really love chamber music. Out of solo, playing, or orchestra music, chamber seems like the perfect thing for me. I love that you can bond with your chamber group so intimately. I love that you can express your own ideas. Everyone has a say in what they play and how the group sounds. And I think that the sound that comes from a chamber group is just magical. And number 21, I learned what it means to actually prioritize family. A lot of people will say family first and things like that, myself included, but their family often sees the ugliest side of them. They always save the best side of themselves for other people. You know, like, you never show your angriest emotions to your teacher or your peers, but at home, that's where the nasty stuff comes out. But your family is the people that you spend the most time with. Your family sees you every day. Your family, you live with them every day. So basically, save the best part of yourself for your family. Invest in those relationships instead of caring what everybody else outside thinks. Obviously, you should present yourself well outside as well, but I'm just saying, like, don't always save up that negative energy for your family. So anyways, that is the conclusion. I have learned plenty of lessons, hard and great, and I can't wait to see, I say this cautiously, but I can't wait to see what 2022 has in store. So thank you guys so much for watching if you made it this far. I wish you guys the best. Happy New Year. I will see you in my next video.